Yeah, it's interesting. I think there I go again with that. It's interesting. Some,
Let's start a little tally.
yeah, let's start a tally counter. Some music, most music I listen to, I like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like when I listen to Bags, I liked it immediately. Some of her like that's what it's like with most of the music. When I've listened to almost any Frank Ocean song ever, I've liked it immediately. I'm trying to get into music that I have to work to like, you know? Like Clairo's new album. I don't immediately love it. Some of the songs are catchy, but it's just not the teen bops that were on whatever her old album was called, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, but I like that's worked on a couple things, but I don't know. It brings me to. It's funny. It's such a subjective thing, like what music you like or what TV shows you like. Like there's so many shows where I just am obsessed with, and I'll go recommend it to a friend, and then it'll just fall flat, and they'll be like, "What is going on?" And I stopped being like, "Hey, like watch this show. Everyone's gonna love it. It's the best show ever." Like I mean, I feel like that, you know. But then I don't know what people like is so subjective and kind of random. Like it's just you like what you like. You don't really choose it, you know?
No, totally. Totally. It's very, very subjective. And then it's like if you go into it being like this is the best thing ever, like everyone's gonna love it, and then someone doesn't, it's disappointing. You're like, what do you mean you don't like it? Like it's a weird thing.
That's true. It has that like if you set the bar so high, it almost makes that person want to not like it, you know? I heard that a lot with people with Squid Game. Like people recommended that like through the wazoo, and then when people finally watched it, it was too hyped to where they couldn't enjoy it.
That was me. I was way late to the game,
burnt out,
and then I was just like, I don't like. It didn't feel natural to like start to enjoy it. It was just like I'm supposed to be enjoying this, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you big into TV shows?
Yeah.
What do you watch?
So I was thinking about like how you compared it to like music, and I think that like sometimes we like catchier things because it's almost like it's like easy listening, and you know, it's easy to like catch on and stuff versus stuff that's a little bit like different or more complex, or not complex but like
cerebral.
It's harder to like get into if you're not being intentional. I feel like with TV shows, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I like stuff that's very like real world scenarios and people living their lives, because I think it's easy for me to just like relate to it and to like it, versus stuff that's like very like like more complex for me to understand, or that I just don't get. Like I have a lot of friends who really love like mystery and like true
crime.
Yeah, like true crime or like mystery or like spy stuff or like adventure stuff or superhero stuff, and I'm like, I don't get this, so I think it's hard for me to like enjoy it more. I like one of my favorite shows ever is Master of None. Have you seen it?
And Z is right. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's great.
It's so good. I think we may have talked about this.
Yeah, I have to watch it. I don't know. I don't remember you recommending it. I'll have to. I'll have to watch it.
It's really good. I really, really like it, and it's just very blunt, like real world shit that happens, and it's so. Sometimes it's almost like painful because you're like, dang, like that. You know, you feel those things for yourself, or you remember when like stuff like that happened to you or whatever. I really like that. I like this show called Love, which is another show that's kind of like that.
I love Love.
I love Love. That's a great show. And then like there's another show called Easy, where it's like every episode is like you follow a different story. But somehow they're like intertwined. Like they like characters will like cross over in different episodes and stuff like that. But it's just, again, like another show about like living life and stuff like that. And then of course I like, you know, what everyone likes, and for good reason, like Breaking Bad. Like I loved Breaking Bad. Like Breaking Bad was incredible.
Great show.
I like a lot of HBO shows. Like there's a show called Vinyl that's so good.
I haven't seen Vinyl. I'll have to check it out.
If you have HBO, you should check it out. It's about like this guy who works for, like, he has his own record label, and it's just showing, and it's set in like the 70s and stuff, so it's just showing like all the stuff he goes through, crazy shit, like throughout his time like working as the head of a record label, and like stuff he goes through with the artists and like his personal life, and it dives into like drug addiction and just like you know, the shadiness that goes on behind the scenes, and just music, like the raunchiness during that era is just so interesting because it's almost like it's like history.
It's like 80s, you said, or
yeah, like 70s. But it's really really good. I really like that show. And then there's this crazy show called The Leftovers.
I love The Leftovers.
Oh my God, you've seen it.
Yeah,
It's intense. Did you finish it?
Margaret Qualley. I was like in love with Margaret Qualley.
She's
and
like,
who's the main guy? He was married to Jen Aniston for a minute. I forget his name.
Yeah. His name is.
That guy's so good looking.
He is. Wait, is his name Jason something?
Let me look him up.
Jason.
Or else it's gonna bother me.
Now it's gonna bother me too.
Okay, what's his name? Justin Theroux.
Justin Theroux.
Yeah.
Something with a J.
He's a boss. He's jacked.
That was such a crazy show, and it was such a really unique and interesting like premise of a show, and like just concept was intense. That show was good.
An engineer I worked with at my last company that's his favorite show ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that show made me feel things I didn't think I could feel.
Yeah.
And he's like not the most emotional
now.
person. I'm like, dude, that's heavy. Like it totally is, right? It's like, yeah. Okay. Any other HBO shows? I'm loving this list you're giving me because some of these things are things I haven't watched, but like I'm an HBO fiend.
I like this show called Girls. That was really good.
I've heard that show's great.
It's great. It's so good. Girls. When I want to watch something that's like more mindless and not as like heavy or intense, I like Curb Your Enthusiasm and like stuff like that. I just recently started watching. I'm so behind, but I've heard great things, and it's one of my dad's favorite shows of all time. So he's been trying to get me to watch it forever. But I watched the first like 3 episodes, and I'm hooked. Sopranos. Sopranos is so good. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't gotten into it now, but I heard it's great.
So
and you got a lot of material.
Yeah.
Sopranos and The Wire are on my list, and I haven't watched either of them.
I've also heard a lot of great things about The Wire. So yeah, I love TV and I like film a lot. So it's one of those things like I never have like time to watch it. A lot of times like I don't get to just like sit and like watch and be present and enjoy. Like I'll be like folding laundry or I'll be like organizing stuff and just like have something on in the background. So I have like my shows for that, like New Girl and like you know, fun stuff to listen to mindlessly. But when I want to like sit down and watch something and have more of like a movie experience, like I feel like those are all really good shows. But yeah, you should for sure watch Final and Girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check them out.
Oh, and Master of None. Do Master of None.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's a little bit easier.
Okay. Yeah, the HBO stuff is awesome. I watched a bunch of HBO stuff this year. White Lotus was one that was really interesting.
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it's about.
They like go to this hotel and people die, and it's just this. I don't know. It's just like a typical dark HBO drama, but it's really good. And then what else? My favorite show is True Detective. That's my favorite show of all time. That's an HBO show. Yeah. That one is. It's true. I mean, it's not true crime in that it's like real crime. It's fiction, but I like how it mixes the real world with like I don't know. I guess like elements of fiction or elements of religion and elements of just like different things. It's just so interesting. Yeah, that show I think a lot of people have a hard time getting into. Like they call it slow burn, but for some reason, just the aesthetics of that show and the music that they chose and
it just sounds very well rounded.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's the only show I've watched multiple times. I've seen it I think 6 or 7 times. And
wow.
Yeah, I hate rewatching shows, but that show,
I feel that.
I just have to rewatch it every once in a while. Because it's like when I was watching it, I just remember thinking the whole time, how is it this good? Like how does this exist? It's that good. You know, like it just blows my mind that like someone pulled that off. I'm like, holy shit. There's just certain things in it, and it's made me appreciate. Some of my friends went to film school, and like I usually don't notice like cinematography shit and lighting and angles and whatever. But there's just a lot of amazing camera work that's done in like one scene where Matthew McConaughey's like in LA and he's not in LA. He's I think they're in Louisiana, but he's like basically in a gang house and like helping them to do some deal, and he's basically trying to escape this insane gang war. And he's running through all these houses and he's ducking and diving and so on and so forth. And it's just one shot. So it's like one camera like following him out of a house and like onto another street. So it's like one shot, one take. And yeah, it just blew my mind. I remember watching that and like I wouldn't know how to critique cinematography, but that just like blew my mind. And so
That's awesome.
stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool show.
They do that intentionally because that will make you feel something. You're like right there in it with him, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's so sick.
Yeah, I was imagining like how hard it was for them to shoot that. Like it must have just been a guy holding a heavy ass camera just sprinting for his life like the whole time. And like he was like, shout out to that guy. That must have been you took one for the team that day.
For real.
But
That's so awesome.